Hello, and welcome back to one of my videos. My name is Ace, and in this video, I want to just talk about tips and tricks for hardcore, specifically hardcore leveling on the Druid class. I want to talk about useful aspects, useful legendaries, and to give you a little bit of things that you can do, things that maybe you shouldn't be doing. Like trying to avoid and give you a little bit of heads up, where you might be looking at, where things might slow down, and when things become good, as well as at the end of this video, or like I think halfway into the video, it's probably gonna be the majority of the part of this video actually. I'm also gonna quickly showcase my talents. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what talents I took to level, and then I want to showcase my Paragon board. I won't show every note because that would be like a completely different thing. That would take like a 40 minutes. But I will quickly go over the keynotes and what route I took throughout the boards. Like just to show which way I went, which node I picked up. Not just go into the general direction so you get an idea. Because I feel like there's not a whole lot of hardcore guides out yet. Most guides I see on websites like maxroll.gg, or like anywhere else, it's kind of all softcore orientated. It's not really hardcore orientated. And this video is really just going to be hardcore orientated, where we're going to change a little bit about the build, we're going to change a little bit about the aspects, we're going to talk a little bit about which aspects are crazy strong through leveling, through end game, which aspects are kind of garbage. You might have seen them, you might have thought, should I be using this, and they turned out to be completely horrible, right? So that's what I want to get into. But first, I want to get started with a few tips and tricks on leveling on Druid, on what you should be doing, or actually what you could be doing. I don't want to tell you exactly what to do. I will tell you the meta of leveling, like what people do to, go fast, um, and I'll just tell you a little bit, what you can use, especially as a pulverized Druid. Keep in mind this comes from the perspective that I've played pulverized Druid. And I think Pulverize is also the best leveling ability because the other abilities just require so many aspects, so much setting up, so much Paragon board power. All of that is, at least World Tier 3 territory, maybe even World Tier 4. Like the Auto Attack Druid requires World Tier 4. And Pulverize kind of, just needs two aspects to get going, right? So I think, straight from the get go, I'll say it. I think if you want to level on hardcore specifically, Pulverized Druid is the best ability to go for. It is, it'll clear packs at a decent speed, and it scales incredibly well. And if you get the aspects, if you get the Paragon board, it just keeps scaling. I have another video. You can check that out on my channel. It is about, my opinion about Druid. Excuse me. It is my opinion about Druid leveling, from level 1 to level 100. You can check that out if you're like curious about the idea of Druid. Before we even get into it, if you're like just want to hear my feedback about it, you can check that video out too, right? All right, let's get started. Tips and tricks and legendary aspect powers of the early game leveling. I think this is the most important one, so I just want to start with this one because a lot of people, they look up a build guide, they see like all the aspects that they need to get to make the build going, and they're like, okay, like you keep those in mind, but I feel like most people will just automatically disregard any other aspect that they get because they're not being mentioned in any video guide. And I think that's a bit of a shame because there's quite, excuse me, I have to look through my inventory because I forgot to, did I put it in here? I did not have to this one here we go. They'll find it and they'll be like, oh my lord, this is not in my guide, so I'll just scrap it. But early on, specifically for Druid, you will not be playing the build that we have here. You will make adjustments. I could, I guess, quickly go over that. If you are leveling a Druid, I recommend you start out with Storm Strike Auto Attack into Pulverize. You pick up Debilitating Roar and Earthen Bulwark. And then here's really what we change where we don't have anything right now. But during leveling, hands down, Druid's strongest tool is this companion here, Poison Creeper. Poison Creeper, we pick up these two nodes, Enhanced Poison Creeper and Ferocious Poison Creeper, excuse me. And once these two nodes have been taken, This ability on a 20-second cooldowns will absolutely one-shot all the white mobs in a huge EV radius around you, and it'll CC everybody, so you're completely safe. Nobody's moving, and they're just dying there. You can just keep going. It does amazing damage to bosses too, and you can just press it off cooldown basically whenever you're in combat, and it's absolutely amazing. From that point on, I would pick up Trample, and then once you have made it here, you could quickly ditch Earthen Bulwark. I would remove Earthen Bulwark and then go into Grizzly Rage. And then another thing that people do, they pick up Earthen Might immediately. This is like the build. It revolves around Earthen Might because it is true in the end game. This is the keynote that everybody wants to pick up, because this is the best one. But it is lucky hit dependent. And without you having lucky hit available on your gear, or anywhere else, this is a very bad keynote to have. I recommend starting with Ursine Strength. You are in bear form most of the time. You are playing Grizzly Rage, we are in Trample. We use Pulverized. Whenever we go bear form, we get a huge bonus to health because this is 20% more. Whenever you see a cross little, this is another tip. If you look at the Paragon board or anywhere else, if you see the X instead of a plus, it means more multiplier, okay? So this is a gain 20% more additional maximum life while in werebear form and for 3 seconds after leaving it. Also, we get while healthy, we deal 30%. Again, X means more increased damage. Even though it says increased, this is kind of a bad wording. But while we are healthy, we deal 30% more damage, which is a huge multiplier. So before we go into Earthen Might, I would definitely advise you to go into Ursine Strength early on. That's a little tip. Now, because we are also playing Poison Creeper early on, because we're not doing what we have here right now, and because we play Poison Creeper, which is a poison damage, and we are playing Werebear, if you find this specific legendary, this specific aspect power, the offensive aspect of the Changeling's Depth, this is called. And it does whenever you damage a poisonous enemy with a werebear skill, it will instantly deal and then input number of the poisoning's damage and consume the poisoning. This is huge because if you were to put this on your weapon, it gets a 100% power increase. And as I said earlier, Poison Creeper, which is our big EW 20-second EW nuke, it does a lot of damage, especially once you pick up Ferocious Poison Creeper, where it extends its duration by 3 seconds. This damage is absolutely insane on the lower levels. And combine that with that we are already playing a full bear ability. If you put this aspect onto your two-handed weapon, if you're playing a two-handed weapon, you will see that I didn't even notice it until later, but I think like you could take it all the way to level 50, and you would one-shot every single boss. Like the multiplier and the damage on this ability, especially in the early stages, you would just one-shot everything. It does so much damage. It gets multiplied by 300%. We can pick up Call of the Wild, which will give us more companion damage. On top of that, the Poison Creeper, not only on its active, but also passively, will just poison people. And if because we're spamming Pulverize off CD whenever we need to, it'll consume that instantly and do like up to 300% more damage of the initial poison value, which is just, amazing, right? So, again, sorry, excuse me, I need to learn all the keybind still. So, if you find this legendary, hands down, this aspect, no matter what you are playing, if you are playing a pulverized beer, before you get, you get your shockwave imprint, before you get your shockwave aspect, I would definitely be using this one. Hell, if you find the shockwave aspect and it's like a low roll, I would put the shockwave aspect on your ring. Because this is the other important aspect. Like I said, shockwave requires only 2 important aspects, or pulverize, sorry. It is the pulverize is now an earth skill, and shockwave. Okay, these are the only 2 aspects you are going to need to level on pulverize all the way from 1 to 100. I would put these 2 on your maybe on your neck and one of your ring. And then until much later, I would definitely be using this and just keep Poison Creeper because it just does so much damage. It scales, really nicely. Again, at least up to World Tier 3, I would keep using this. So that's like a huge, huge something that I would definitely be advising you. Another thing I hear a lot of people, or I see a lot of people do, and I have a lot of people ask me the same question. Like, what do you do with your aspect powers? Because you can see here, I have like a lot of aspect powers in my inventory. Here are my uniques, by the way. Here's my gear that I use during leveling, and here's more aspect powers. This is a different build, but specifically the aspect powers. As you can see, I've hoarded a lot of them. I have a mule character too. For people to know what a mule is, it is just you make a level 1 character, you put more things on it. It uses an extra stash, and it has like even more aspect powers. But I realized, especially now that I look back onto it and I make this video, I realize it was completely unnecessary. I could have burned all these great, near max roll aspects, because you can see whenever which level I attained them, right? Level 84, level 44. These are all later levels, but level 81, level 73. These are even older, like level 45, 43, 29. All these high roll aspects. I should have just been using these instead of keeping this in my inventory, because, excuse me, you find so many aspects that it's almost like no point in hoarding these. You hear a lot of people say like, oh, you should save your best aspects, for level 100. But let me show you quickly. Although this one is a low roll, right? We have found 1, 2, another low roll 2. This is a max roll 3. This one has not been imprinted yet, so I guess this would be 4. And on top of that, I found it, numerous more times that I just scrapped it. I have found it enough times that whenever I actually found the upgrade, I had one available. Right? So the legendary aspect power, in in comparison to item drop rate, that is actually an upgrade to you on what you're currently using, is like you will find so many more aspects. Just keep using them. Don't hold them in your inventory, right? You can see this is all the gear that I used while leveling, and I'll show you, right? Look, aspect imprinted maximum 50%, 45. This is then I found the unique, right? This is the unique that I found. We have this same aspect that I changed it around, and I still have it available. Right? Earth skill, this is a low roll, but I still have it available. I have like a 36. I all had it available on my rings. I all had it available. I never ran out, right? So hoarding all these aspects, in hindsight, has been a complete waste of time. Like, just if you find a good aspect, if you have a nice piece of gear, especially in World Tier 3 and onwards, just use it. Don't put it in your inventory. Don't hoard it. Just put on a good piece of gear and use it, okay? That's like another big tip I would definitely be using. Another tip I want to give is the consumables. Maybe you don't know, but especially at World Tier 3, when you start getting into the Hell Tides. I don't see any Hell Tide active right now, but Hell Tide, basically a short TLDR for what Hell Tide is. It is a event on the map. You'll see a few maps get turned red, like it's like demonic. It's a demonic invasion, and it's an event you can go to, and you can do activities. You can collect a new currency called Cinder Shards, I believe they were called, and you can use these Cinder Shards to open specific caches on the map. They'll be displayed, just like the dungeons. You can see like a little highlight where there's a little chest, and if you open these chests, there are going to be a lot of consumables inside. All these consumables you see here, right? All the potions. I did not make these at the alchemy. I did not craft these. These will drop numerously throughout your gameplay, and when you get into sigils, they'll be dropping. They'll be dropping from a lot of sources. Okay. So my advice is, don't keep these in your inventory and stack them up like this. Just keep using these. They give 5% experience, and it'll give a bonus. And the higher level potions give like a huge bonus. Like, let's see if I have like a high potion one. These are all Slayer types. This is like a 30% maximum life increase. It's very nice. Uses cost reduction 20%. Lucky hit 30%. And there are even better ones. I could probably show you in the crafting, because even though I don't have them right now, I can quickly show you in the crafting, because these potions are absolutely amazing. They give you so much power. Especially later on, there'll be a lot of power in these potions. So don't underestimate consumables. Consumables are very good. Keep using them at all the times. As you can see, these are the higher level potions, level 95. You get 20% attack speed. That is actually crazy. Like 20% attack speed it's the equivalent of like 2 pieces of gear at very high item level. So use these potions. You get them a lot, especially during Helltide. Use these potions, okay? That's like a little bit of the general idea about the aspects, what I think you should be doing. I also want to quickly say, a lot of people ask me questions like, Ace, how did you level? Like, what did you do to get to level 100? Okay, in this section, I kind of want to, I will address the meta. I will tell you what people have been doing in the past few days, because as of uploading this video today on 14th of June. What did I want to say again? Well, I like really lost track. I want to say like what people have been doing at which dungeon, but dungeons keep nerfing. I was like thinking like, wait, which dungeon have been nerfed? Yeah. So basically, I'll tell you like what I did to get from 1 to 50 and then 50 onward in World Tier 3, right? At the start, I finished campaign. Obviously we all have to go through campaign once. We start here, we go through, Skull Glen, Dry Steps, into all this. And once campaign is done, what I did was I finished my renown. I did every single zone up to stage 3. And doing these activities through dungeons, I didn't really do side quests. As you can see, I collected all altars because obviously they give us power. I did all the altars and I finished almost all dungeons. There were a few dungeons bugged back then. So if you're like asking like why do I have like certain zones where I have one dungeon left, I found most zones had like a bug dungeon or two, so I still haven't actually finished those. But that's what I did. I went after renown, and this brought me all the way to level like 46, 47 I believe. And from 47 onwards I went into World Tier 3. We did the capstone. It was relatively easy. I think you could probably do it a little bit earlier, but if you are playing hardcore and you want to stay a little bit safer, just there's no rush, right? You could do it at 48, 49, 50. It's all fine, right? Just keep in mind that the gear in World Tier 3 is substantially better than what you're getting right now. So if you're like, going there early, you will get big improvements on gear very quickly, which is nice, right? It'll help you clear content faster. And that's what I did. When we hit World Tier 3, I finished my Paragon points. I finished these two while just, doing dungeons. I saved the dungeon part for the later stages, the World Tier 3 stages. And I focused on Altars of Lilith during World Tier 1 and 2. Or World Tier 1, actually. I never went 2. And then I did the dungeons in World Tier 3 to give me good gear, to get gear upgrades. And once I had enough gear, I went into doing Helltides. Once I did all the renown, we focused purely on doing Helltides and dungeon running. There have been a numerous amount of changes to many dungeons. Elite packs have been nerfed across the board. Dungeons have been adjusted. So as of right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what the best dungeon is, but I can tell you what I ran. Oh, let's see, where is it? Deadman's Dredge. Where's Deadman's Dredge? I don't even remember where Deadman was at. It was somewhere here, right? Oh, maybe it did get turned in. Oh yeah, okay, it got turned to the bounty, excuse me. Oh, also, it's actually good that I got reminded of this. The Whispers, the Tree of Whispers, you will unlock them at the end of the campaign. I did this a bunch while doing dungeons. Like I looked at which zone had a Whisper zone, basically, where the bounties are at. And then I did the dungeons in that zone. For example, here, Deadman's Dredge is the one dungeon that I ran. But, it's also here, Path of the Blind. And here we have, another one. If you have not done these dungeons and you're still working on Renown, I would just target the ones that have a Whisper active. Because every 2 dungeons, you can go back down here and hand in a little cash. It'll give you experience and it'll give you materials, okay? Even some legendary powers, maybe. So I would definitely do that early on. I would target these Whisper dungeons and just do 2 in 1. Just, do the dungeons, get your Renown, and get extra more experience from the Whispers, okay? That would be like another big thing to do. And then again, once I finished all the dungeons, once I had all my Renown finished, I only did Helltide, because Helltide is a great source of materials that you need to craft gear and reroll gear. So Helltide is a very important thing to do. And outside of doing Helltide, we went into Deadman's Dredge. Later, I learned that Champion's Demise You think like after running this one 100 times, you can always find, but Champion's Demise, it is here in Dry Steppes. It was another very good dungeon, especially for multiple people, but it did get nerfed. And later on, I learned that Blind Burrows and the Ruins of Eridu, these two have been nerfed, like I think of yesterday. And I think Blind Burrows is still really fast. I think it is still the best one to run currently if you're solo. It is a little bit of a dangerous dungeon because of the spiders poisoning you, and poison is a little bit dangerous, but it is hands down the fastest and quickest dungeon you can spam run. So if you are looking for the meta, do the meta what people are running right now, just sit Blind Burrows all day, every day, and that's all you do. So if you want to go fast, and only go fast, run Blind Burrows 24/7. You can do the trick where so what I did, because I had a potion available, again, I said earlier, use the consumables all the time. If you want to keep a consumable up and use a potion, what you can do is run Blind Burrows, TP out, leave instance, run down across the bridge, enter the Ruins of Eridu, and clear the first part. Previously, there were a lot of elites in the first part. And once you cleared the first parts, you just left the dungeon, and Blind Burrows would be reset, and you just do Blind Burrows again. This way, you don't need to do the annoying log out, because the way you reset dungeons when you are solo is you leave the dungeon, you log out, log back in, and the dungeon is reset. Okay? You lose your potion. You lose the 5% experience buff if you do that. If you don't want to lose the 5% experience buff and keep the other beneficial effect of the potion, I would just run Blind Burrow, finish it, leave it, run down to Ruins of Eridu. Again, just run down here, clear the first part, and then leave it and go back to Blind Burrows. And just repeat that over and over and over and over. I think that was like hands down the fastest min-max leveling way. So you don't lose your potion, and it's completely fine. But they have nerfed this method. So I'm not sure if it's still the best. There might just, it might be different things to do right now. I have not heard about it yet. It's all up in the air. Blizzard is, continuously tuning. Hey, look, a Helltide spawned. So as I just said, we can quickly go to, I need to do this Helltide anyway. Helltides are absolutely amazing. And 100%, whenever they are on the map, you should be doing them 100% of the time. The loot you get in here is incredible. The mobs are a little bit higher level than you, so you get good experience as well all throughout the game. So Helltide is up. Definitely do them. This is how they look like. And then once you enter the zone, you can quickly go into the zone. Gotta, walk out of the city. Once you get into the zone, you'll see a little currency counter here. Look, Helltide, duration, and the currency counter. And you'll see whenever we kill some mobs, you'll get a different currency. Aberrant Cinders, these. And once you have collected enough of these Aberrant Cinders, this is also something that can happen during the Helltide. It might like rain down meteors, and you might have an elite mob spawn. Let's see if we get him. Be careful of these, by the way. These hurt. Like, these will actually hurt. So make sure you dodge these. This can happen at any time. It's just a random event that triggers around your character. No elite. Sometimes an elite can pop out as well. And now once you have enough currency, you can go to these chests. They'll be like on the map. They're called Tortured Gift of Protection or Tortured Gift of Jewelry. You'll see these chests on the map. And you can open these. I don't have the currency right now because each chest has a different currency value. This one here costs 75. Jewelry might cost 125 if it's amulets. And then there's weapon chests as well. Let's see if there's one up. I don't see one in this zone. Protection, jewelry. Okay, so no weapon chests up currently. There's also weapon chests which cost 125 and 150. Okay, so if you're looking for maybe opening weapon chest, that's a possibility. But I will tell you right now, you should be ignoring these chests. These chests are all a bait, because every single Helltide, there will be 2 in each zone. So this is a zone, this is the Fractured Peak, this is Sarkova Pass, and this is the Frigid Expanse. In each one of these zones, there will be a hidden chest, which you cannot see on the map, and it'll cost 175 Aberrant Cinders each. So you need a total of 350 for both chests. and they will give you hands down the best loot. You get around 1 to 5 legendaries, you get a lot of potions, and you get a lot of crafting materials which you need. So my advice, and I'll put the link down into the comments, there's a website called helltides.com, which have an amazing tracker and has an amazing overlay map where you can just see where these treasure chests are at. And my advice, every single time when the Helltide spawns, look at the website, look where the chests are at, collect the currencies, and open these chests. These chests, again, they have amazing loot, amazing crafting materials, so they are hands down the best chests for you to open. Always look for the tortured gifts of mystery. I think they were called tortured gifts of mystery. And again, just use the website that I'll be posting down the link. That's like my hands down and my best advice you should be doing. Another little thing, when the Helltide spawns, so this one just started. This one spawned on the hour. Okay, this one started exactly 12 p.m. server time for me. It started on the hour. If the Helltide spawns and it starts like at a half an hour, like, let's say the Helltide, if the Helltide would have spawned in 25 minutes, it would have meant that because every hour the mystery chests will respawn. So let's say the Helltide started in 25 minutes, it would mean you'd have 30 minutes to find both chests in both zones, open them, and then once it hits on the hour, so it would turn 1 p.m. server time, these big chests will reset. They'll spawn somewhere else and you can reopen them, meaning that if a Helltide spawns on half an hour, you can get a total of 4 to 6 chests, and this means almost guarantee a full inventory of legendaries. Like, that's almost guarantee a full inventory of legendaries in an hour work. And they're all very good quality, and the materials you get and the potions you get, it's all like amazing, right? So that's like very important. I would like prioritize Helltides 24/7, prioritize mystery chests 24/7. Okay, that's a big thing. I think that's all about like the tips I want to like kind of hand out. I'm like thinking like, what else did I do? I don't really remember doing much else. We talked about Renown, we talked about Helltides, we talked about dungeons, capstones, when to use them, aspects. Yeah, I think we're good to go. So with that out of the way, that's it for this video. In the next one, I'm going to be talking about my build, about the Paragon board specifically. I'm going to show you the route. It's not going to be a long video. Hopefully you can check that out too if you're interested in druid gameplay. And yeah, see you there, guys. Peace.